second row Chris Joynt, in the absence of Skerritt, is pushed up to prop in an effort to inject more pace into the pack. And it's in that pack where Great Britain have to meet the Kangaroos head-on. No worries for Australian coach. His problem has been who to leave out, and his decision reached this morning is to hand Alan Langer the number 7 jersey ahead of Ricky Stewart. The Brisbane Broncos scrum half will take control behind the pack, and he'll certainly be around in midfield if Bradley Clyde, the Canberra Raiders second row, makes his customary breaks down the middle. He's a man with Fittler Great Britain will have to watch. And the Kangaroos winning 7 Ashes series here since 1963. That's the strength of the opposition. Referee Graham Annesley, used to a big crowd, and Mal Meninga certainly is, as we're underway. Joe, conditions underfoot, very, very slippery.
Yeah, with the weather we've had this morning, torrential downpours really, I don't think either side would have wished for it, because both teams want to play attractive football. I think the key factor will be the team that controls the ball better in these conditions, and hopefully that'll be Great Britain.
And Steve, reaction from an Australian to the wet weather? They don't normally like it.
Well, they don't. The last few times that Australia's played Great Britain in these conditions, Great Britain's come out on top.
And it's Great Britain in possession, as we especially make a welcome to viewers from New Zealand and Taiwan. Graham Annesley, the 5th tackle. One of many kicks I think we can expect this afternoon downfield, fielded there by Brett Mullins, the Canberra Raiders, and that's a good chase already, Joe.
Well, they always say that your kick's only as good as your chasing team, and that was an excellent chasing team. They went down the straight line and stopped Mullins almost immediately as he got the ball.
The tackling, Joe, certainly got to be sound in the middle. We've got to stop these Aussie forwards from coming through, haven't we?
Well, in the games they've played already on this tour, you know, they've exploited, in most cases, weak defence. Ellery Hamlin, I'm sure, has instilled in this Great Britain team that they have to bolster the defence and stop them coming down the middle.
And there is one man who's exploited a few weaknesses in defence. Laurie Daly with that kick, well picked up there by Robinson. But again, good chase from Daly from his own kick, and Steve Renouf there wearing the headgear. Phil Clark did well to hold that ball. Very wet. Jonathan Davis. Darryl Powell. Should not really be expected to take the ball away there. More a forward needed, like this big lad, Andy Farrell. A second kick from Edwards. A difficult wind to contend with for Andrew Ettingshausen. Tends to swirl around here at Wembley, but a good chase again there from Carl Harrison. Langer.
I've been surprised, Ray, to see that Sean Edwards took both of the kicks that Great Britain have had rather than Jonathan Davis. Jonathan seems to have a long kicking game, and I was surprised with it. I thought he would have been taking the long field kicks.
I think it's interesting that, Joe, Lee Jackson being penalised for knocking the ball down, but in practice this week they have been working very, very strongly around these rucks, haven't they?
Well, they're trying to close the Australians down right from the onset, to move out from the marker position and try and take them on the advantage line. That's exactly what Lee was trying to do then, and knock the pass down, but the Australian referee gave the decision to Australia.
From those play the ball, Steve, we've seen Steve Walters absolutely dynamite in previous matches.
He is very quick from that dummy half area. The difference is Graham Annesley's not used to the first marker getting round like that, because in Australia it's usually the second marker that does most of the chasing.
Defence needed now from Great Britain. They should be very fit. They actually joined the army up at Catterick in the summer and went through some very arduous exercises with them. But it's Australia now calling the shots here in midfield. Roberts driving in, and front row forward in chief Paul Harrigan. 15 metres from this Great Britain line. Langer can't afford to let him run. Well picked up there by Dennis Betts and Sean Edwards. Good battle between those two scrum halves. I think Edwards came out on top in the Wigan Broncos World Club Challenge. A little too hard from Mal Meninga, but I think the intention was good, Joe. He wanted to break up the defence.
It was, that was the right thing to do. A little bit hard. When you've got legs the size of Mal Meninga's, it must be hard to put a little kick in.
Well, the word legend can be applied to very few people in sport, but with a record like that, Meninga is certainly one who deserves the accolade. Chris Joynt, as we said earlier, pushed up into the drop forward position, only had a few games up there when he was with the Oldham Alliance team. Lee Jackson, a wayward pass, picked up well by Alan Hunt. Hunt, very pacey, normally a wingman, but has plenty of experience at centre. Jackson looking for support. And offside. Well, that's rather ironical. Coach Bobby Fulton has been blasting at British referee Steve all week for not giving a fair 10, and now they're penalised by the referee from Australia.
Well, that's right. I don't know why Bobby's been doing that, because Graham Manners is a very good referee and a fair referee, and they were offside, and the good part he done, he played the advantage first. If Great Britain had made a break, he'd let them play on.
Significant factor, I think, here. Great Britain have been in possession of the ball for the bulk of the time so far. We need to hold this ball, play out these 15 metres from this Australian line. Great Britain, Jackson to Betts, Betts racing through, almost took Australia by surprise there. 5 metres now, Edwards going himself from that acting half-back position. Good cover by Australia. Australia feeling a very narrow wedge defence here. The kick by Powell, it's missed, picked up. Australia under pressure. Ian Roberts did very, very well to get away there. Australia put a wedge defence on there. They crowded the ground around the man playing the ball.
Daryl Powell here takes the ball, runs at the line and puts a little kick through, similar to the kind of kick that Mal Meninga wanted, but just the right weight on it that time.
And we could see the ball skim along the wet surface there, Joe.
It is wet. This pitch obviously is in superb condition and will drain well, but it has a greasy surface at the moment.
Robinson, first touch on attack. Just 20 years of age, Jason Robinson. And another youngster, still a teenager, Andy Farrell. But what a teenager. Chris Joynt, not used to playing so near to the rucks, playing normally a wider game in his second row days. The switch by Edwards to Dennis Betts. I've no doubt Betts' former coach John Mooney and my co-commentator will be watching this third in New Zealand. Sean Edwards cutting through, but again a good tackle there by Roberts. The 5th tackle. Daryl Powell, the little grubber kick again. Well, he was looking for a penalty, but I don't think he was obstructed. Mr. Annesley having no truck with Daryl Powell.
Daryl seemed to be caught in two minds here. Obviously he was turned the wrong way to start off with. There was no runners coming off him, he went for the kick. Just put it too deep.
And Richard down there on the sidelines.
Yes, Ray, very satisfied on the Great Britain bench. They're playing it carefully, they're playing it methodically. You've seen what happens when Great Britain have the ball. The instruction is that when Australia have the ball, they've got to get up on them as quickly as possible. Close down that 10 yards from the play the ball. Going well so far.
Certainly are closing them down. I'm a little bit surprised, Joe. All the kicks so far have been grubber kicks. Davis was practicing the very high kicks here yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, I think later on when the game develops, I think Davis will be putting those bombs up, the high kicks, and testing Mullins at full-back. Right now, though, he has to retrieve a great kick from Australia.
That is a good kick, putting pressure on the man we're speaking about, Jonathan Davis. But it's the chase that's significant there from Laurie Daly. Martin Afire helping out. Clark. And that's significant, Joe, isn't it? That's how you want to start the game.
That's exactly what Elray have been trying to get them to do, just to control the ball in the early stages, put the pressure on the Australians, and make mistake-free football.
Good tackling, typical Australian tackling, and from Langard as well. Barrow driving in. Certainly Great Britain taking this game to the Kangaroos. Back to Edwards again, this time to Davis. And there's a high one. Testing Ettingshausen. Oh, he takes it well. Superb catch from the Cronulla wingman. Nothing wrong with the kick. Well judged. Mullins.
This is tremendous skill off Andrew. I mean, he's looking over his shoulder. He's coming from behind him and It does juggle a little bit, but he takes a great catch there off a very good kick from Jonathan Davis.
We mentioned Australia's play at the play of the ball. There was an example coming away with it. Langer, often first receiver. Clyde again, bringing through the ranks there. Running off Daly. The Australians, I think, Joe, not quite accustomed themselves to the wind currents that you get here at Wembley. I mean, you've kicked enough times here.
Yeah, people talk about them. It is hard to judge it. I think down on the pitch level, it doesn't matter that much. But when you try and put the ball in the air, the wind does tend to swirl around the stadium, and it can cause a few problems.
Gary Connolly. That's good use of the blind side there by Lee Jackson and Robinson, but well covered once again by that prop forward there, Paul Harrigan. Edwards. Switching play, Connolly. Steve, Halifax, your club did this very successfully last week, switching play continually against the Australians.
You have to do that because, as you notice, you've got a very tight defence. They're not spread out, and you've got to try to get them going one way and get your attack going the opposite way. You get the defence going.
Significant on the Great Britain bench that they're keeping Bobby Goulding warmed up. He's out on the greyhound track again. There was a feeling before this game that Bobby Goulding would be on very early in the match. Great Britain relying on his skills, relying on his kicking ability.
Australia still driving forward, but still that good tackling. There is Bobby Goulding. He's very, very confident youngster. He'll be very keen to get on. He'll not want to sit there too long. Great Britain last won these Ashes way back in 1970. Down under. A sensible kick on that fifth tackle there. Keeps the Kangaroo momentum going forward. Laurie Daly.
You mentioned the Australians had fluffed a few kicks really. He's obviously learning. It's a learning curve, and he's took to it quite well, because that was an excellent kick in the corner. It gives Australia a scrum in Britain's territory.
Australian pack still significantly bigger than the Great Britain one, but certainly I think much more mobile than the pack that was here 4 years ago. The sun beginning to appear now. Robinson looking to surprise open the gap there in midfield, but it really is difficult to break down these Australians in the middle. Man for man marking. Jackson, there's a good run, good move. The Sheffield Eagles hooker, and Phil Clark appointed vice-captain. Sean Edwards, Farrell outside him. Good switch inside to Darryl Powell. He's got Edwards with him. But Edwards had Paul Harrigan, number 10 for Australia. Davis be looking for a better kick this time. Puts pressure on Ettingshausen. Remember, he's got to cross that line. Otherwise, it's a dropout. He does. Langer to Wendell Saylor. 4 tries already onto the scoring sensation for the Kangaroos, just 20 years of age, from Brisbane Broncos. Clyde. This is a very good defensive stint by Great Britain so far. I must confess, in the knock-on, surely. But it's a penalty. He's been obstructed, he's been held back. Referee Annesley playing an advantage.
Alan Hunt had moved up very quickly to close the space down for the Australians. Managed to get a hand on the ball, and his second attempt to grab it, I think he was pulled back there.
Yes, I think that's a very good decision by referee Annesley. As we can see that Allen goes in, but there's Daly, number 6, he holds him back, Joe.
Yeah, just had a hand on his jersey, just prevented him. I mean, he knew that if he did catch that ball, there was a chance of 4 points for Great Britain.
And Jonathan Davis to kick. Well, 24 hours ago I sat in this same position in the commentary box and watched Jonathan Davis take a kick from exactly this position yesterday afternoon in practice, and he kicked it. Can he do the same now with a crowd hovering around the 60,000? A little different kicking on a quiet, calm Friday afternoon. Davis then. And there is the difference. It is the pressure that can get through to a kicker, even one as experienced and as prolific a point scorer as Jonathan Davis. You've kicked out there, Joe. It's difficult, isn't it?
Well, yesterday counts for nothing. Jonathan would slot this over 7 days of the week normally. This one, he just pulled it slightly to the left of the post. He'd be disappointed with himself there.
The switch again to Farrell. Very quick lad, this former Oral St James amateur. Carl Harrison led the way last week for Halifax in the toughest encounter of the Kangaroos. 15 minutes gone. Still Australia 0, Great Britain 0, and I'm sure Ellery Hanley will be delighted by that scoreline.
And from the Great Britain bench, possible problem here. Darryl Powell, who you saw having treatment earlier, has a dead leg. They're going to keep an eye on him, see if he'll run it off, but maybe they'll have to make a change.
There is Darryl Powell, the Sheffield Eagles star. Robinson trying to escape Renouf, doesn't escape Saylor. But Great Britain getting up very, very quickly to play this ball. Edwards again, using the high ball. Oh, that's a good one, it's hovering under that line. Well taken again by Ettingshausen. He got back there superbly. He's a tall lad, is Ettingshausen, and he took that ball well. Mullins, another tall man. Sirenen started quietly in the game. Paul Sirenen, second row. Here's one man who certainly hasn't. Chris Joint, the Great Britain number 10, been tackling very, very well. Daly, oh, that's a good pass. He dumped it to Great Britain, but it's a forward. The intention was excellent there. He certainly got the Great Britain flat cover defence there flummoxed. They were looking for the kick, and he put the pass out.
They were watching for the kick, yes. A lot of them had dropped back as well. You noticed that Jason Robertson on the wing had dropped back, waited for the kick. Daly had spotted that and threw a long flat pass, but it was just slightly forward.
Well intended.
Both these halfbacks have got an excellent pair of hands on them, can distribute the ball very, very well. And when you see a gap like that, like Larry Daly did then, they have the speed to get the ball there fast.
And on the final tackle, the handover to Great Britain. Joints. Farrow. Sean Edwards directing operations there. Teammate Dennis Betts. Davis. Oh, that looks a hint of obstruction, but referee Annesley letting it go. Australia, Steve, packing the midfield with the defence.
They are. They actually look a little bit lethargic. If you have a look, they've got their back. They're running back with their back turned to Great Britain a lot. And in actual fact, I think Great Britain's on top at this stage. Australia aren't moving forward that quick in defence.
Well, how many times have we said Great Britain look on top, but against Australia you just dare not make a mistake.
That's the key, Ray. You have to do it for 80 minutes. You have to control the ball, keep tackling, play mistake-free football, and when the chances come, you have to take them. You mentioned that Ellery Hanley would be pleased with the scoreline. I don't think he will. He'd have wanted to try, or possibly the penalty from Jonathan Davis. He would have felt a lot better, I'm sure, with those points under his belt.
And I think that's going to plan with the territorial advantage there for Great Britain. Well, I'm happy, Joe, just to see the tackling that's been in there. I mean, in some of the previous games, the full-backs have been like, what, lollipop men at Brands Hatch trying to stop the traffic, haven't they?
Yeah, you can have a bad neck if you play full-back against Australia, just watching people run by you.
Well, here is a full-back, Jonathan Davis. Will he risk a pass? He does. And Jason Robinson just gets over that whitewash. Davis again, just playing for time, waiting for the pack to get back. One or two are back now. Phil Clark is. The fire done very, very well there. Oh, just couldn't get away. That's lifted Great Britain. Darryl Powell looks to be okay from that dead leg. Back to Davis. And there is the thin red, white and blue line, so necessary against a player like... Well, did he play that ball? I don't think he did. He just threw it behind him. He's lost it. Well, again, I think Great Britain were a little hard done to there by Mr. Annesley. He appeared to lose the ball.
A borderline decision from me. You're not allowed to pull the ball out or regulate in any fashion in the tackle. Wendell Sailor went into it hard. You see him take on the play.
Well, certainly I think we saw that the ball wasn't done correctly at the play of the ball. And I have a feeling that neither was the ball ripped out. But Mr. Annesley is in charge from Sydney, Australia. And it's Sailor down that wing again. Fittler, a very dangerous runner. And Barry McDermott, the Wigan prop, obviously coming into the action. Serenin, oh, shrugs off Shaun Edwards there, just flicks him off. A giant of a man, this powerful Kangaroo second row. The first real pressure from Australia. Langer trying to weave his way through, can't get through, but gets it back to Walters. Walters looks for Fittler. Fittler looks for support again. He finds it to Walters. This is desperate defence here now for Great Britain. 2 metres from the Great Britain line. Every man into the tackle here. Daly, the long ball to Medinga. Oh, good tackle. Excellent tackle around the legs there by Alan Hunt. And the 5th tackle, Daly. Puts the high one, and a very high one. Perfectly placed kick, picked up by Betts. Well taken there. No, it's Gary Connolly. Gary Connolly. The same blonde hair since Betts had his haircut. No mistaking that little stocky, determined runner, Robinson. Martin Offiah. Like to see Martin Offiah coming in midfield, Steve. You were saying that this was a problem with our wings to me earlier in midweek.
It is. John Bentley caused Australia a lot of problems last week, coming in and taking on their forwards and making them use up a lot of energy there. And I think the Great Britain wingmen should be doing that more.
Especially when you consider that it is a lightweight Great Britain pack. They're not going to be expected to get back there and do the graft all day, and it's very, very helpful to see wingers and centres come in and give the forwards a bit of a hand.
Well, just a shoulder charge there from Paul Harrigan. I must confess I couldn't see much wrong with that, but that's what's wrong there. That's for the penalty around the neck, the high tackle. No excuses. We don't want to see that on a rugby league field.
Bob Fulton did say that Graham Annesley would look after the Australians with that, but I think it's working against him at the moment.
Darryl Powell going off and McDermott coming on. Now that's interesting, Joe. We've got a prop forward coming on for a halfback.
Yeah, I think that it's not a tactical move. Darryl there is injured. He must have that dead leg. He obviously can't continue.
They have been practicing in training in midweek with Phil Clark at standoff on 1 or 2 occasions.
Well, he's done it for Wigan on occasions. I mean, he's an excellent ball player himself, even for a forward, and he can get out there. He can play in any position really, Phil.
Just be a question of speed, I think, though. But Great Britain on the attack, and it's Lee Jackson going again, once again from the acting half-back position. He's making invaluable yards. On the 5th tackle, I thought it might have been worth the drop goal. Betts retrieves the situation well. The pressure on Sailor. He takes it. It'll be a tap on the 20-metre. Worth a drop goal attempt there, Joe?
Possibly. Dennis Betts is not the great kicker. I'm sure he won't let me saying that, but he's not the greatest kicker. He was left in no choice, though. They had to put the ball in the air.
Australia been in tremendous form in the previous matches. 36 tries in 5 matches, well up on their average, and when they scored 68 tries in 13 matches on the last tour, certainly been opening out the play. Walters having difficulty on this occasion. Daly, good ball. Terenov steps inside. Plenty of pace, this Brisbane Broncos centre, scorer of the winning try in that World Cup final 2 years ago. Roberts, crunching tackle. Crunching tackle there. Langer. Daly. Meninga. Good ball to Clyde. He's got Ettingshausen also. Oh, that was a high tackle. That was a bad high tackle. Edwards reached inside, and Edwards is being sent off, I'm sure. Mr. Annesley, no hesitation, we're looking. Edwards just doesn't know, but the red card has gone in the air, and sensation here at Wembley. The skipper sent off in the first John Smith's test. No hesitation by referee Graham Annesley. But it looked a bad tackle. It was a high one. He came across. And Clyde is really injured. That was a bad knock. Well, disconsolate figure of Shaun Edwards. He came across. He stuck that arm out. Clyde went down, and referee Annesley had no hesitation. Hardly an example to set for the many youngsters here.
You see the tackle here? Shaun goes in very high on Brad Clyde there. It was a bad tackle. He never attempted to go low, and he's got his marching orders. But that was the first time Australia actually threw the ball wide, Ray.
In fact, we see he almost jumps in. He jumps into the tackle, doesn't he? As Clyde cuts inside.
His feet are 2 foot off the ground there.
And Australia then, with 13 men. Will they actually take the opportunity to go for goal? In fact, during the tour, they've not been taking many opportunities at goal. They've only kicked actually 25 goals on the tour so far. And there is Bradley Clyde into the blood bin. Well, that's a sad exit for such a great forward. And number 17, David Ferner, coming on.
I just like to see what they're going to do here, Ray. David Ferner's a recognised goal kicker, which they haven't got out there now, but they haven't indicated they're going to kick for goal. They're not.
Well, he cannot come on and kick for goal, Steve.
I realise that, but I'm just wondering if they're going to try it.
Yeah. Well, obviously they've got the confidence now with 13 men to 12 men. It's Australia then now, the tails up, driving in. It's Paul Harrigan and Ellery Hanley, and his assistant Gary Hetherington must be stunned by that. Fittler weaving, dodging, 4 metres from that Great Britain line.
I think we'll see now, Ray, how important that decision to put Bobby Golden on the bench. The scrum half, Shaun Edwards has obviously gone off now. He had to go off, being sent off. And I don't think it'll be long before we see Bobby Golden come on the field and take over the reign of scrum half.
Meninga puts the kick across field. Sailor underneath it. But gratefully received by Robinson. Yes, and I think what we've also got to expect there with Goulding coming on, we've also got an extra forward on in the shape of McDermott, haven't we?
That's right, it's worked out quite well. I mean, it's obviously disastrous really for Great Britain to lose Shaun Edwards, especially at this stage of the game. But hopefully things will work out well with Bobby coming on, and as you say, Barry McDermott already been on there in the forward.
One of the advantages, Joe, is that under international rules the blood bin is unlimited.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. I mean, you can go, obviously he was a little bit concussed there when he went off Clyde. He can go and have a freshen up, you know, get some smelling salts, get his act together and get back on. I'm sure you'll see him return.
Well, Bobby Goulding itching to get on there, and let's hope that Bradley Clyde does come back, because he doesn't deserve to leave Wembley in such a manner. Carl Harrison then driving in, Britain down to 12 men. McDermott. Just 10 minutes remaining in this first half. Still Australia 0, Great Britain 0. Davis looking to get away, can't quite get his footing. Tackled there by Ferner.
News from the Australian benches that Bradley Clyde is slightly concussed. He's got lacerations inside his mouth, as if the sending off of Sean Edwards wasn't bad enough. The Australians felt on the bench here, Bobby Fulton felt that they were getting the upper hand after half an hour. They felt that they'd broken the Great Britain pattern of play. Davis.
He's got the height, but he's not got the distance underneath that kick. Picked up by O'Fire. And picked up by Langer. Ferner. Well, remember his father, Don, now the chairman of the selectors, coming over here in the mid-50s with the Kangaroos, a father and son. Bickler to Sirinen. Paul Sirinen, number 11 there, been rather quiet at the moment, Steve.
He has. I think that's only the second time that he's actually hit the ball up. He's made a couple of tackles, but overall he has been quiet.
Jonathan Davis. Oh, that was an obstruction, surely. But referee Annesley, he's playing on. I think he's observed the decision. He has. Good decision there by the Australian referee, Mr. Annesley. He sensibly allowed the play on there for this obstruction, Joe.
I think it was Cernan who comes in late, just turns his back to him, and Jonathan Davis, actually to be fair, ran into the back of Cernan. There's no rule that says you have to go out of the way. This is the Sean Edward incident here. I think the major factor here is that there's the step of Bradley Clyde. He comes back inside, and Sean Edwards is going at full speed to cover across, but he does go high, and you know, it's very sad to see.
And deservedly is sent off. And Phil Clark, the vice-captain, is now the captain. What a task for this youngster. Directing operation, and Andy Farrell having a rest. And I think it's necessary that one has to spell these forwards down when you're down to 12 men, Steve.
You do. They're going to have to do a lot of work now, Great Britain. It's a great blow to them. But as Joe was saying before, I think they're going to have to get Bobby Goulding on there shortly.
Well, Bobby Goulding is on for Andy Farrell. Davis. Similar kick to his first miss, but from the other side of the pitch. So can Great Britain, 12 men, go into the lead? They can! Jonathan Davis strikes the first blow. It's Great Britain 2, Australia 0. So some heart into the fans, some heart into the players, but with 12 men, a long, long way to go. A good kick, accurately struck. The height, the direction, and the flags go up. 2 points.
Jonathan Davis will be pleased with that. It tested his mettle, really. After missing that first kick, he struck that very, very well.
And there is Bobby Goulding, the little live wire from St Helens, been in fine form. Alan Hunt. And with 12 men, Great Britain have to make even more use of these sets of 6 now, haven't they, Joe?
Yes, and they have to make sure they control the football as well. There's no good turning the ball over to Australia early on in the tackle count. They have to control the ball and work their way gradually upfield. But we have seen in the past where 12 men really muster together and come up with a great performance, and let's hope that's the case here for Great Britain today.
Well, it certainly will have to be a great performance because Australia will be looking for the overlaps on the 5th tackle then. Back to Davis now, taking the kicks. Oh, and that is a long one. Sends Australia and Ettingshausen right back there. Just a little too long. A lot of work there for Ettingshausen. That's quite a few games with Leeds in the mid-80s. And Barry McDermott, the Wigan prop, and Jackson doing a good stint in midfield. There's McDermott again. Australia lose the ball. Picked up well by Bobby Goulding. The crowd getting behind this 12-man Great Britain. Dennis Betts. Oh, he shouldn't have offloaded that ball there. Martin of Fire not expecting the pass. Well, I think really he should have been, but a mix-up between the two Wigan teammates.
That's what we talked about. He had his hand up there. He said he was sorry. You have to control the football. Australia just turned the ball over to Great Britain. It was the first tackle. Then he saw the opportunity to offload it, but really he should have kept all of that.
And there's Bradley Clyde back again. Nice to see. Ettingshausen. Australia then creeping forward now. Brad Fittler has that wide, exaggerated sidestep off his left foot. But again, good tackling. Lee Jackson, number 9 for Great Britain, having a very good game.
It has, not only defence, but round the ruck, at acting half-back, he's been taking on the Australian defence and beaten them on a few occasions.
Sirenen down to the floor, and it's Bobby Goulding waiting half his way, 2 moves in. Back to Langer, to Daly. Daly to Meninga, launches the giant Australian skipper down the middle, but Harrison's there. Clyde. Langer looking for one of his bombs. He puts one up. Davis underneath it. Ooh, it bounces badly for Australia, but fortunately for Great Britain, it bounces dead.
It was fortunate too, because these balls could bounce in any direction, as you well know, Ray.
Mr. Annesley. Well, Great Britain once again in a muddle there. Would you believe it, Steve?
They're trying to rush it too much. You know, with 12 players, they want to slow it down. They don't want to go 100 mile an hour.
Oh, Goulding coming away beautifully. Now then, he's got a fire on his outside. The fire's gone inside. Oh, surely I thought he had space on the outside. But Goulding making play at the half-back. Here he is again. Clark, good pass to Betts. Betts to Davis. Davis, he's got some space. He's going for the corner. He's got his head back. And the Welshman, he's in for a magnificent try at the corner. That's the speciality of Jonathan Davis. Sheer pace. Bobby Goulding injected the spark in the middle. And Wales' hero finished it off at the corner. Sheer magic. Surely one of the greatest attacking players in world rugby. Jonathan Davis from Warrington, formerly from Connettley, now Great Britain.
Great Britain launched an attack down the left-hand side, quickly spun the ball out to the right-hand side, and Jonathan Davis, a little bit of a dummy, straight through the gap, pace to burn, goes round Mullins, and a great try in the corner. That's exactly what Great Britain needed.
And Joe, if someone has the pace to go around this man Brett Mullins, he is fast.
Oh yeah, you've got to give him respect for that now. I mean, to take him on like he did, he knew exactly what he was doing. Mullins gets there in the end, but Davis is over the line.
And here we see, it's the pass, the dummy. Now then, the sheer confidence in it. Mullins, 6'3", long, tall striding, phenomenal pace, can't get there. Jonathan Davis does. And it's the Welshman, still with sufficient air in his lungs to try this kick from the touchline. Davis strikes the ball across the face of the post. But tremendous try there from Davis. Tremendous boost for Great Britain. 6-0 for Great Britain. And down to 12 men.
Dennis Betts gives a nice pass out here. It's all about balance though. Jonathan Davis certainly has that. He's got style, he's got class, and the way he runs, it's like he's gliding across the field. It's an effort to go past him, but he manages it.
And Gerd, I mentioned, Steve, we have 2 minutes remaining in this half. Great Britain have got to hold on, haven't they?
They've got to hold on. Australia's got to lift their game. Great Britain are down to 12 now. Australia just think that they're going to win the game because they've got 12 men, but you know, Great Britain, they're going to play till the end and play as good as they can.
Referee Annesley once again allowing play on. The ball interfered with by the Australian. Bobby Goulding putting the kick this time behind Hettingshausen. That's a tempter. Oh, it's just in that in-goal area. Goulding's following it. He's got Betts, and Hettinghausen's caught. And I think it's a drop out beneath the post. Yes, it is. Superb effort, kick and chase from Goulding and his colleagues. They were all there, Joe.
It was a great kick chase. Goulding kicked it, was the first to get there, and I think Andrew Hettinghausen might be a little bit injured after that tackle.
Straight into battle, Goulding. And Malmeninger exhorting the troops there. He'd be looking for Daly here to put a long kick downfield. Well, it's a high one, but I don't think long enough. Picked up by Robinson. Takes his time. Betts looking dangerous at the first receiver there, often beating the first tackler. Chris Joint. Goulding again, looking for the drop goal. Well worth the effort in the closing seconds of this first half. And Bobby Fulton, second there behind Jeff Carr, the manager, just going back to the dressing room. He'll not be happy with this first half performance.
He won't be. He'll certainly be telling his men that with only 12 men, they've got to lift their game, Australia, instead of just think they're going to win it.
Steve Walters trying to direct play there. That's a bad pass, picked up very, very well by Great Britain. Not much understanding there between Walters and his forwards. It's Great Britain coming away. Looking confident.
I think, Ray, if they do get down in the position to take another shot at having a drop goal, they'll try it as well here, Great Britain.
Goulding moved into the hub of things, trying to cut through, taking control in midfield. Dennis Betts. And Great Britain edging down the middle, and that's significant. We don't often see that in Test rugby. More handling errors from Australia. The chip kick, a little too far. Great Britain certainly varying these kicks, Joe, keeping Australia going on the back pedal.
It's all about keeping them under pressure, whether it's the high ball or the long field kick down or the little chip, whatever the type of kick, you have to have a good chase and put the pressure on the Australians.
There's the half-time hooter. Paul Harrigan, well, he gets up rather slowly. I don't think he can believe the scoreline. Certainly those British fans can. 6 points to 0 for Great Britain. But let's not forget that after that nasty incident with Sean Edwards, Great Britain down to 12 men and a further 40 minutes to play. That's the crucial time factor.
We've still got a mountain to climb, but certainly we're halfway up it already. We aim to put pressure on the Australians from the off, and we've certainly done that. We've never seen an Australian team as rattled as we've seen today. For them to go into half-time having scored no points, of course we cannot underestimate them. We've only got 12 men, they've got 13, and they're going to come out very strong in the second half.
A setback when Sean Edwards got sent off. There was no argument about it. What were your first thoughts to reorganise?
Yeah, it's a terrific setback. Bobby Goulding's gone on and certainly inspired the British team. Obviously we need to reorganise his tactics from here on.
But so far this has been a marvellous effort by the Great Britain team, and this could go down as one of the all-time Great Britain victories. Still a long way to go, but it's setting up for a great finale.
What do you have to do in the second half?
Well, we've obviously got to do what we've done in the first half, continue to put them under pressure, control the ball and put the kicks in, and come up with the chances that we created for Jonathan Davies, and we've got the players in Davies and Martin Appiah and Bobby Goulding who can finish the job.
Great game in prospect, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve, and 40 minutes remaining is an awfully long time for Great Britain to hold out, but as I said, they have been training regularly, and in the summer they did pay that visit to Catterick, the army camp, humping logs around at the crack of dawn. They are very, very fit, but then so are the Kangaroos. But Bobby Goulding there and Phil Clark, they're the two men now we will have to inspire. Phil Clark, a degree holder from Liverpool University Movement Science. He knows all about energy. He knows all about strength. He's going to have to hang in there and make sure that his teammates do. Martin Appiah, we've been looking for something special from him. And I think, Joe, Australia really have got to move this ball from one side of the field to the other. They've got to tire Great Britain, haven't they?
Yeah, they've got to get the passes wider. I think it's, Gary Schofield mentioned it at half-time that Ricky Stewart might be coming on in the second half, just to get that ball wider, faster, to attack us, to attack Great Britain on the outsides. With them being one man down, it's going to be very difficult for them to cover the whole of the field.
It surprises me though, Joe, just looking at the Kangaroos there, not an awful lot of bounce in them as they come out on the turf.
No, Great Britain looked the better side, didn't they? The more keen side coming out for the second half. Let's just hope that stays the same throughout the next 40 minutes.
Yeah. The next 40 minutes, surely, possibly the crucial time in this three-match John Smith's Test series, as the large crowd settles down despite the heavy rain at half-time. And something special now needed from Mal Meninga, who sets a record 15th Test against Great Britain, beating former Kangaroo skipper Keith Holman's record set in the 1950s. A man who can suddenly produce a try, a goal or a crunching tackle that can turn this match. Jonathan Davies then to restart. Great Britain leading 6-0. One man down, and I'm sure that man there, Bobby Fulton, has had plenty to say. And the man who's made him have plenty to say, Jonathan Davies, launches into the second half, and Thurner, the number 17 substitute, first catch of the ball. Coming on for Clyde. David Thurner, Canberra Raiders. And Richard, can you give us any information on Bradley Clyde?
The news of Bradley Clyde, Ray, is that he has been taken to hospital. So they're obviously very concerned about his condition. He's been taken to hospital initially for preliminary checks.
Well, that's very, very sad. I'm sure we all hope that he recovers. Robinson. Again, Joe, that sudden downpour at half-time won't have done the handling much good.
No, but both teams have to concentrate now in this half. The football will be slippy, it will be greasy. It did lash it down at half-time, and it's going to be very, very difficult to maintain control of the rugby ball.
Australia's last defeat on British soil, of course, here at Test in 1990 by 19 points to 12. And just look at that, 92 tackles made in a half. When did Australia last make a tackle count like that?
Well, they've been put under pressure and they've had to do it. They've had to come up with the tackles.
Roars and chants from the crowd for Great Britain. Certainly the crowd will have to get behind this 12-man Great Britain side. Goulding into Saylor, but this boy Wendell Saylor, he may only be 20, but he's a big lad, strong lad, powerful runner. And here's one very powerful runner, Sidderen, but fairly thrown to the ground by the young McDermott. And a pat on the back from Jackson for McDermott. Great Britain really moving in, and Australia looking a little flat-footed, Steve.
They are, as I said before, they're running one out, and they've got to get that ball wider of the ruck area.
Meninga Dare I suggest a line from one of Cliff Richard's songs earlier on? Move it. That's what they've got to do.
Exactly right.
Langer, one man who can move it. Twittler, Steve Walters. Harrigan. But again, good harassing by Dennis Betts. Daly. Robinson. He's got Davis inside him. Can Davis get over that line? Oh, he does. Superb sidestepping skills by the Welshman. Absolute confidence. I think many a player, Joe, would just have gone down there.
Well, I think any of the half-time dancers would have been proud of that footwork. To beat 3 of the Australian players in his own in-goal area was fantastic work from Jonathan Davis there.
Phil Clark. Well, his father, Colin Clark, had a win against Australia here. Can son Phil? I'm very impressed with McDermott, Joe.
He's come on and he's played well. He's attacking him on the fringes of the ruck, and also in defence he's bolstered his defence up. He made some very, very good tackles.
Chip kick from Goulding. Picks up Langer, doesn't give Langer any time at all to get the play. Roberts looking for support, finds it in Steve Walters. There is a gap there. Walters is looking for it. Paul Harrigan. We keep saying that Australia not running with their usual fluency, but at any time these Kangaroos can suddenly switch on top-class rugby. It only takes a break, it takes a pass. Ferner, one of the stars in the grand final this year down under, the Canberra Raiders. Langer trying to move it out wide now, but no, cuts inside, and a good tackle again there by Chris Joynt and Harrison, the two props working hard. Fittler stepping off that left foot, picked up by Jackson. Alan Hunt takes it well, looks for a fire, but a fire's come inside. A fire. Great Britain using Dennis Betts a lot at first receiver, Joe.
Yes, you know, with not having a recognised strong heavyweight pack, they have to use the whole of the pack to take the ball up, especially one off the ruck to cart it up. Carl Harrison is good at it, he does it all the time for his club side. But now Great Britain with this lightweight pack, they all have to take a share of it.
Davis, well harassed there by Daly, and that harassment caused the kick to go direct into touch. That was good play by Australia.
Maybe the mistake Australia's looking for there, Ray. It's about one of the first that Great Britain's made in their own half.
Yeah, Laurie Daly just put in enough pressure on Jonathan Davis on the kick for him to lose his balance slightly and put the ball straight out.
The scrum's gone to the feed. Daly, good switch move there by Mullins. Mullins looking to step outside. Forced inside by Hunt.
I think Alan Hunt's had an excellent game in defence. I'm sure before the kick-off the Australians were looking to exploit Malmaninga, with Alan Hunt being a winger usually playing in the centres. His defence has been superb.
Perner. Martin Afire coming to the rescue there, aided and abetted by Phil Clark. Another strong tackle by Chris Joynt. Langer, he's got support on his outside here now. Daly just couldn't get that ball away, but it's Great Britain under desperate defence. The fifth tackle. Langer puts that little grubber kick through. Langer's going for it, but Davis is there. Good use with the left hand. All he had to do, flick the ball away, but Langer thinking there, putting pressure on Great Britain, making Great Britain turn for a change.
This is one of Alan Langer's stronger points. He runs out of the defence on the last tackle. A neat little kick through, and Davis is forced to put it dead.
Ooh, and that's a good kick. Pinpoint accuracy. Touch judge there, Tony Brown. Surprises Andrew Ettingshausen. He looks at the whitewash, but the touch judge right on the spot. Good drop out.
It was a little bit close to the touchline for my liking if this had gone straight out. But it bounces, well, inches inside the white line.
Australia then in possession. Daly looking to move Renouf wide on this outside, but Davis is there. Jonathan Davis coming in very well from the full-back position there, using his pace to counteract Renouf. Saylor, he can sidestep, beaten two men, gets a good pass out there to Ferner. Ferner driving now towards the post, loses the ball. Jonathan Davis, lurking with intent, picks it up, and Betts comes away. Great Britain breathe again. Difficult time for Great Britain here, Joe. They're penned in the 20-metre line, aren't they?
They've been under pressure in their own territory for quite a while now. They need to have 6 good tackles, advance the ball up the field and have a good kick chase, just to relieve a little bit of that pressure off themselves.
Harrison. And Jackson looking to go away from the acting heart position again. Chris Joints can't escape the tackle. Ooh, missed by Goulding. Cleverly intended there by Dennis Betts. The ball had gone along the floor, very little he could do. Well intended, it didn't come off. But full marks for effort. Langer. He's actually running quite a lot himself, is Alan Langer, Joe.
Well, for the first time I've seen Australia play without any real commitment off his runners. Usually Alan Langer's sniping around the dummy half area, around the first man receiver, but he has plenty of runners coming off him. Today he doesn't seem to have those runners.
Here's one runner, Roberts. First test against Great Britain, this Battersea, London-born Aussie prop. The 5th tackle. Again, a dangerous situation for Great Britain. It's Langer's boot once again, testing over the dead ball line, tap on the 20-metre line.
The Australian bench are watching 2 of their players very, very carefully indeed. Laurie Daly has an ankle injury, Paul Harrigan has a rib injury.
Clark setting the example. Gary Connolly. Great Britain have got to cross that halfway line, then put the kick in, put Australia back on their own line. Carl Harrison. Oh, almost got the pass away to Goulding, picked up by Walters. He's got Meninga with him.
That's bad play, Ray, though. You spoke about it, you said they had to get over the halfway line and put the kick in. Once again, Great Britain are back in their own half, defending for their lives.
Fittler. Mullins, he's got some space there, he's got Davis on his inside. Good tackle again by Robinson. Davis pushed him out there, but it's Australia on the attack now. Wendell Saylor. Should he have passed? Pressure on this 12-man Great Britain again. Langer, that's the sort of pass we expect from Langer. Daly, Meninga's lost it. It's picked up by Great Britain. Oh, if only McDermott could have got that ball away, but like a prop, he sensibly held on there. And nothing wrong with that.
And Martin fighting very well here, came in and made the tackle on Meninga. And I'm sure Barry McDermott was pleased to see that ball land in his hands.
Bobby Goulding taking the ball up, never afraid to run at the big men. You often think you could knock him down with corn seat, this lad, but he's a strong lad, he's a stocky player. Betts. This is where all the hard work has to be done, the hard graft, if Great Britain have got to keep in here. That's the sensible type of kicking we were talking about, Steve.
It is. You've got to put the kick right down in the in-goal area and then have a good chase to put pressure on them.
The game in a very delicate stage, both sides testing each other out here. Tactics ruling here. Roberts never stops working. Grafter in defence. Walters, Serenan. Fittler, he spotted the gap and he came off that left foot sidestep. He's got Langer. Oh, but that's a good tackle by Davis. Davies knew exactly where that ball's going, but it's on the 5th tackle. Australia on the attack on that right-hand side there. Meninga, he puts the kick in. Ettinghouse is going for it. But it's a penalty, offside. He takes considerable time, this referee, Mr. Annesley, to blow up for offside. He was doing something similar in the Leeds v Sheffield Eagles game that he refereed last Sunday. And here he is again. He gave Australia the advantage before he blew up. And once again, Australia not going for goal, but driving towards the post. 12-man Great Britain desperately holding out. Alan Langer coming forward. A short pass. Ooh. Langer down this left flank. Daly, he's got Renouf. Well watched by Connolly. Gary Connolly played with Canterbury Bankstown out there in Australia. He knows the pace of this Brisbane Broncos lad Renouf and the pace of this other Bronco, Saylor. Still the red, white and blue line holding 5 metres from trouble. Langer. Again another good tackle, this time from Alan Hunt on the 5th tackle. Langer, the little chip, oh, he's picked it up! He almost had it, but Davis has come up with it, but I think the referee will rule a knock-on. And we see number 16, the prop forward there, Dean Pay, coming on for Paul Sirenen.
Another one of Langer's little kicks through. Chris Joynt couldn't gather it, and the referee decided then the scrum's the only option.
So he's given the knock-on against Chris Joynt. Another 6 tackles.
Yeah, the pressure's still very much on Great Britain. Jonathan Davis has come up with a couple of cracking tackles.
Bailey just showed his strength there. Shrugged off a tackle. Can Great Britain hold on here as Roberts tries for the post? And Australia significantly keeping this ball moving, seeking to tire out Great Britain, as they will eventually do. Harrigan. Goulding's in there. Hunt's in there. Still the green and golds rolling forward. This time Fickler looked like an obstruction, but no, play on to Furner. Furner, a strong runner. Gary Connolly, equally strong in the tackle. 5 metres from the Great Britain line. Still Australia relentlessly moving forward. Fickler, the long pass, they've got 2 men outside here. Ettingshausen, good switch. Hunt's there. Daly ended up on the wing, he's got a bad ankle, he gets the ball to Fickler. Fickler's going over, he throws it back. Oh, and it's picked up by Great Britain. A try was almost over there. He was over the line. Just look at Fickler here, he drives forward, he keeps going, he's over the line, he's pulled back. Ettingshausen can't pick it up, neither can Meninga. And it's picked up by Britain.
You can put that try saving down to Gary Connolly's strength. They held him over the line there. I don't know how he did it, but he kept him up, stopped his momentum.
And Jonathan Davis, a bad knock to the shoulder there. This would be a bitter blow if the Welshman had to leave the fray. With Darryl Powell suffering from a dead leg, we have yet another forward to come on, and Laurie Daly limping off there. That's a blow to Australia. He's been in superb form as Daly, setting up the midfield in the earlier matches.
I think you can see Brad Clyde here. He just tries to push his pass out that wasn't really on, and then there's 2 Australian players, Ettingshausen and Meninga, that both go for the same ball. I think Australia just got to settle down. They're trying to score off every play. It's only going to take 1 try from, score 1 try and they're going to get back into the match again. And, with 12 men, they need to score soon.
And Daly there, limping off with that left leg. Looks like a knee injury, and the ice pack ready assembled to go on top. And Ricky Stewart's coming on for Laurie Daly. Well, a world-class player, and a man whose passing skills, especially his long, wide passing skills, have defeated Great Britain in the past. But Daly having the ice on, trying to get the swelling down immediately.
This is a key part of the second half, Ray. This is where Davis drops on the ball, tries to retrieve it, and with everybody landing on top of him, obviously he must have just injured his shoulder or maybe his collarbone.
We can just see as he goes down there on that shoulder how it dips down. But he's carrying on, and it's Great Britain's scrum. Davis moving out to the left wing there, just out of the way at the moment. They certainly want to bring him off. He's just having a word. Hunt, and the fire now. A lot of pressure on this man, Martin of Fire and Alan Hunt. Davis doesn't want to go off, but he's certainly injured. Robinson. Come on now, let's get up, go! Betts. And Alan Bateman, another Welshman coming on. Alan Bateman, the former Neath player and Warrington player for Jonathan Davis. Well, he too had a fitness test just before kick-off on a hamstring. Let's hope it holds out. The Great Britain doctor there from Wigan, Dr. Zaman.
As if Great Britain haven't had enough problems and worries this afternoon. Jonathan Davis leaving the field. I mean, he's had an exceptional game so far, and he's probably been the man of the match, scoring tries, and his defence has been superb.
This has certainly been one hard, tough test match, and lots of tough tackling to come yet. Wendell Saylor. Just 20 minutes remaining in this first Ashes test. Great Britain leading 6-0. And a penalty for ripping the ball out at the tackle. Not the kind of penalty really Great Britain want to give away at this stage.
Well, Gary Connolly done a fantastic tackle. It's the first time, of one of the only few times, that Great Britain have had Australia in their own half. And you can see Barry McDermott's hands there, just pulls the ball out.
Yeah. Inexperience.
It is inexperience, but it's experience that could cost them the test match. Players like that, you don't need it. You want your side to be squeaky clean, especially when you've only got 12 men on the field.
And the situation with Jonathan Davis, who's talking to Dr. Zamal on the bench now, is that he has a slight dislocation of the right shoulder. The shoulder not fully out, but obviously very painful for Jonathan Davis.
Dean Pay driving in. So Great Britain once more up against it, but holding the upper hand on the scoreboard. Walters looks to find Langer. Langer cuts through, finds Dean Pay. This man Pay, he certainly can run this prop forward. He's been one of the revelations on tour. Stewart inside to Fickler. Fickler, the kick through, fires there. Sensible play from Martin of Fire. Kicks the ball dead. It'll be the dropout beneath the post.
Brad Fiddler's starting to
really
show his class in this game now. Brad's starting to take it on himself. Laurie Daly's off. He's showing his kicking game and his good skills, and I think you'll find that he's going to be their playmaker now, Brad Fiddler.
And we've got to ask ourselves, Steve, how much longer can Great Britain hang on?
Well, they're doing a great job at the moment, but as I say, Australia just got to work for that first try. Once they get that first try, I think they'll go on from there.
And Mick Cassidy there, the Wigan lad in the headgear, coming on for Carl Harrison. Again, a fresh player into the fray for this final 20 minutes. Harrison done a superb job for the hour. But it's all Australia at the moment, and it's this man, number 13, former Penrith half-back star Fittler, making the half breaks down the middle. Langer, Stewart, Australia got the two playmakers on the field now, Stewart and Langer. But this is the man causing the trouble, Fickler. Sirenen driving, loses the ball. Picked up once again by McDermott. Cassidy. Robinson. And I think the wings do need to come inside to help Great Britain, because these forwards really must be tiring.
Yeah, they do now. With 12 players, all their forwards have worked very hard, Great Britain, and they need their outside men to come in and give them a hand.
The onus certainly on the freshmen like Bateman and Cassidy to get in there, put the runs in. On the fifth tackle. A long kick needed by Bobby Goulding. Saylor. When we talk about any tiredness, it doesn't appear with tackles like that. Goulding moving in, but Mullins making the half break. Jackson there again. Tremendous effort from Great Britain, not only to contain these 13-man Kangaroos, but to be leading at this stage. Meninga to Renouf, the mishandle, but for a knock-on, the ball must hit the ground. Roberts.
Australia, for me, seem to be caught in two minds. They can't decide whether to play the power type game or the wide expansive game.
And yet they have both of their halfbacks on, Langer and Stewart, who like to play the wide game.
Well, they can play the wide game, but when they do get it wide, they've always got to run it coming back in. They seem to be persistent with this, trying to come back in field all the time, running into the defence instead of trying to get the outside.
This crowd here at Wembley, 57,034, a record for a test crowd enjoying themselves.
With Carl Harrison on the bench for Great Britain. Carl, this is going to be a torrid close to the game. Can they hold out?
So 15 minutes to go, and the boys are tied out there, but there's so much spirit in the Great Britain camp, I think we can hold out.
It's been a heroic performance so far.
That's right, we lost Sean early doors, but I say there's so much spirit in his camp. Ellery Hanley's got a tremendous squad of players, and we're trying just the rugby league world, what we can do.
Fingers crossed. Thanks, Carl.
Bateman and Robinson bringing the ball away, and just look at that, Joe, 65% possession there this second half.
Yeah, you can count on one hand the number of times that Great Britain have been down in Australia's territory, and that black line shows it there.
15 minutes remaining then for Great Britain to absorb this pressure, and they will absorb it with kicks like that from Goulding. He spotted Wendell Saylor. He was up a little bit too flat, put the kick behind him, and the touch was found.
It was a good kick, not only because it got the distance, but also it goes into touch on this occasion, which gives his forwards a rest. Rather than have to have the chase on and get up there quickly and make the tackle, they can take the time and walk the scrum.
It certainly does give his forwards a rest, and there's nothing a forward likes better than at this stage of a game than just to walk to the scrum, especially in your opponent's 20-metre area. Saylor. Langer trying to get these Australian forwards moving, and an interception by Lee Jackson. Oh, it was a risky pass by Ferner, and suddenly Great Britain in possession. Cassidy, the gap too long to throw the pass.
They were desperately in need of a link man though, weren't they, Ray? Mick Cassidy throwing the ball at first receiver, looked out wide to get that ball wide, and there was nobody with him at all.
Alan Hunt, and surely if we can't get a try, we must have a goal for a drop goal. The fire going for the line, almost slid his way through. Goulding puts the chip over the top. Robinson searches for it, just goes into touching goal. Do you not think it would have been worth a drop goal, Joe?
I do, but you know, they want to go for the try. They realise that if Australia score, then they're right back in it, and if they've got the try on the board, then you know, it could have been a really big advantage for Great Britain.
But there's a huge psychological difference between 7 and 6, Steve, isn't there?
There is, but I think Joe's right with the fact that Australia would have been dead and buried if Great Britain scored then.
I bow down to both of you. Australia then still looking for the equalising try and conversion. Approaching the halfway line. Oh, and Steve Walters for once gets away at the acting halfback, Mal Meninga. They've been very well policed this afternoon. But the position and the territory moving back to Australia. Roberts loses it, manages to get it back. Dean Pay. And Alan Langer there, caught in two minds, managed to get the pass out at the end, but some sloppy passing from Australia. A sense of desperation now from Australia as they're moving this ball around, but moving it a little bit too much in the middle amongst themselves. Ricky Stewart puts the cross kick. Robinson, well caught by Robinson. He's got some space here. Wonderful play by Jason Robinson there. Out of defence, onto attack. And Great Britain breathe again. Martin O'Fire getting through a lot of work that is not normally noted for, Joe.
No, but Great Britain, Australia test match, you have to do it. You have to come in and give your forwards a hand. And Jason Robinson and Martin O'Fire, the centres, they've all done their bit.
Cassidy, one of the quick young forwards in the game, Mick Cassidy, an all-purpose forward, can play in any position. O'Fire, that's a good pass. Alan Bateman, Jason Robinson. That was good covering there by number 4 for the Kangaroos, Steve Renner. Took 2 or 3 players out there. Goulding again. Puts the bomb, puts the high one on Mullins. And it's Mullins coming away with it. Still Langer trying to get his line moving, trying to force a break. Hitler. Renouf. Solid tackle there by Alan Bateman, and a hand injury there for Mullins. Certainly been a bruising, battling test match. Ball went behind him. Hunt looking for the interception there. Atkinghausen can't get round Martin O'Fire. And still Australia not taking advantage of the extra man. The kick picked up by Bobby Goulding. He's got a fire outside him. Oh, he's a forward pass. But he's also given a knock on earlier. Boos from the crowd. But referee Annesley blew the whistle.
A little chip over, Lee Jackson got his hand to it, and the referee called it back for that, and there was nothing wrong with it.
Well, I must say I didn't see anything wrong with the initial tap down with Jackson and Goulding.
Australia's very lucky. The ball definitely went backwards in that play there.
And Martin O'Fire incensed at that. But still, Great Britain hanging in there, 6 points to 0. 9 minutes remaining. Who will be the victor in this first test? Steve Renner. Meninga. Will he cut free? No. Good tackle by Clark.
You've got to remember that the first last just come from
Jonathan Davis nursing a damaged shoulder. Only 6 points, your fabulous try, but a classic game.
Yeah, great game. I think we've done exceptionally well, to hold them out so far. It's 10 minutes to go. Hopefully we can sneak it. It's very the boys are playing tremendously well.
Can you bear to watch? You can, can't you?
I wish it was all over, yeah, but there we are, fingers crossed.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Well, I think if Great Britain do win this, I think it's more than sneak it. It's a tribute, I think, to the courage and the bravery of these 12 men. Australia moving in. Stewart, Meninga, Renouf, he's got a 2-1 here, he's going himself, Renouf is in! Steve Renouf is in! At the corner here, Australian fans at last on their feet. He scored the vital try in the World Cup final. He's taken a knock. But Renner brings Australia to life. And at last the Great Britain line is punctured.
I think Steve Renouf's only winded. He's had a quiet game, really. While the game's been going on, he's not done much. But here he is. They used that advantage of the extra man. Renouf throws a dummy. Crashes over the line. I think he's just winding himself there when he landed on the ball.
He certainly does. He's got tremendous acceleration off the mark. Meninga, the good pass. He weighs it up. He sees Robinson has to keep to the wing outside. And he goes in and wins himself. Or catches the knee coming in.
It's one of the few times, if probably the first time, that it's gone straight out the line and they haven't had a runner coming back in and turning the ball back inside. And they've scored from it. They've got to keep throwing the ball out wide and running away from the defence, not into the defence.
And a tremendous pressure kick here for David Furner. One of the surprise selections in this Kangaroo party. Right out 5 metres on the touchline. Furner swings his foot. Oh, it just shades across the pitch, across the face of the post. And Great Britain still clinging to a 2-point lead. 6 points to 4.
Well, if there is such a thing as a plus from conceding a try, it was the fact that Australia were forced to score out wide. They've not noted for having a recognised kicker on the trip, and that was just a little bit outside his distance.
Steve Renouf, the scorer, brings everyone now to the edge of the seats. 7 minutes remaining. A long kick needed from Bobby Goulding. He produces one. Meninga. Great Britain have to call on those reserves of energy now and have to get that ball, Joe, off Australia, don't they?
Yeah, they have to keep them pinned down here as long as they can. That's not the way to do it, the break like that. But they have to try and put pressure on them, keep them down here.
Fittler playing the ball himself, no one was marking him, and it's Australia now running rampant, just driving over the halfway line. Walters, back to Fittler, to Furner. Just 5 minutes remaining now. Great Britain hanging in, 2 points difference, 6 points to 4. Langer, that will be too deep, surely. It is.
Well, they'd be annoyed with themselves at that kick because they had Great Britain on the rack there. Steve mentioned that when Australia, if they did score, which they have done, then they'd open the game up. And just when they had Great Britain on the rack, they put a kick in that's far too long.
Great Britain taking their time, probably the longest 5 minutes in Ellery Hanley's career. Bobby Fulton doesn't look so very happy. But a lot can happen in these minutes. Great Britain clutching to the ball. They cannot make a mistake. Clark, the skipper. In Edwards' absence, Chris Joynt, Betts. Great Britain really looking now just for position and possession. Goulding, the switch. McDermott, he's got Lee Jackson with him. All well picked up by Chris Joynt. Adventurous play, the 5th tackle. Back to Goulding. The attempted drop, just to the right. Well worth the effort.
Well, I've got to agree with you that time, Ray. It was worth the effort. It was the last tackle. It had to be a kick of some kind, and Bobby goes for the long drop goal.
6 crucial tackles here needed by Great Britain. Oh, Wendell Saylor almost getting through, but again another good tackle by Phil Clark. Langer out to Meninga. Meninga using his power to get Mullins away. Doesn't get him away though. Martin of fire. Great Britain defending desperately. Seconds ticking away. Langer bringing it down this left side again. Ferner, the fifth tackle. Surely Australia will put a high ball there. No, they're running it. Stewart. Oh, that looked a forward pass. Mr. Annesley is playing on. He's allowing Gary Connolly to pick the ball up.
Once again, Australia run it on the last tackle, but the ball didn't go to hand. It was left to Andre Tyson just to hack at the ball.
2 minutes remaining, 2 points the difference. Great Britain have got to hang on to this ball, and there's Jonathan Davies, the man of the match. He can't bear to watch the excitement outside. Bateman. A little injury time to add on to that, of course, for Jonathan Davies' injury and Laurie Daly. And a penalty. A penalty against David Ferner, raking across the face. Now then, Great Britain must, from this, make advantage of it. Here we see Lee Jackson sensibly holding possession, driving forward. Ferner goes in.
Lee Jackson will have mixed feelings about that. He'll not like having his face mauled and scratched, but he'll be relieved to get the penalty.
Robinson. Still the countdown to the hooter. McDermott. I thought he was going to pass then. Each one of these forwards just quite simply has to hold this ball. And that's a penalty. Oh, that is a penalty, and it's a penalty for holding McDermott down. Great Britain will go for goal, whether they kick it or not. It will waste time. Here we see Joe.
Yeah, the tackle was completed, and then Barry got up to play the ball quite quickly. Well, he played it with his hand, to be honest, but the referee judged that the Australian player pushed him down.
He did, but he was held down there by Ferner. Mal Meninga shakes his head. Songs, here we go, land of hope and glory, ringing around this stadium, bathed in sunlight.
This could be the longest time to take a penalty you've ever seen. Bobby Golden will slow it right down.
Returned to Test rugby, Bobby Goulding. Been out in the wilderness since that tour back to New Zealand way in 90. Had a fortunate fall off the mound of sand, I think, there for Great Britain. "28 metres out." Goulding to take the kick. A lot of pressure on small shoulders. But he's up to it. The roars behind the post tell the story. The delight on Goulding and the fans' faces. That 2 points just gives the extra cushion. But still Great Britain are not out of jail yet. Now into injury time. I make it a couple of minutes of injury time. And that's not gone 10 yards. Oh, it just has. Just has. A mistake by Great Britain.
It was. Australia playing desperation football now. They have to do.
Well picked up by a fire. And surely, again, keep hold of the ball. Everything's safe. Sean Edwards, the disgraced captain there, he'll be happy at the win, but not so happy at his performance. Ellery Hanley, triumphant, making his way to the bench. His first international coaching appointment, and he's done the trick. Or has he? Seconds still remaining into injury time. 8 points to 4 for Great Britain. Joint. And the 13 handling errors tell everything there for Australia. They move the ball in midfield. They kept turning it back inside. They got in each other's way. Just 2.5 minutes into injury time now. Australia launching the attack. Renouf, they can't let this man get away. Surely the timekeeper's finger must be poised over that hooter. Fittler, the chip kick over. Pushed back beautifully by Lee Jackson. Picked up by Connolly. Another chance to absorb 6 tackles for Great Britain. 2.5 minutes into injury time. Jason Robinson. This will be a historic victory by Great Britain. They went into this match 3-1 on underdogs. All the money on Australia. And with 12 men, they look to have pulled off a sensational win. Jackson, he'll not be bothered how long the Australians hold him down. Cassidy, say, sure, sensible ball. There is the hooter. Great Britain have done it. Andy Farrell, Carl Harrison, encourage each other. Those fans there in Primrose and Blue from Warrington, delighted. 8 points to 4 for Great Britain. Who would have thought when Sean Edwards was sent off that Ellery Hanley could have masterminded a victory like this? And Martin have fired, he's tasted many triumphs here at Wembley. Challenge Cup finals, tests in 1990. And here perhaps one of Great Britain's greatest victories. Appreciated by the fans. And Mal Meninga, the gentleman that he is, congratulating Great Britain. Colin Welland, delighted. Wendell Saylor, his first taste of Wembley and defeat. Maurice Lindsay, with a grin on his face as wide as the Mersey docks. And Jonathan Davis, the hero of the afternoon with that try. I'm sure he'll forget that shoulder injury when the champagne corks start popping tonight.
Ellery Hanley, that was an absolutely staggering performance by Great Britain.
Well, you've got to thank all the players who were involved. They gave a tremendous effort. It was absolutely marvellous. Every player to play with 12 players against Australia shows a lot of commitment and a lot of guts. You know, take nothing away from Australia, they're still a champion side though, and make no mistake about it, they'll be back against us straight away. We've still got a lot of work to do still. Obviously we're going to celebrate for the night away and everything, but as I said, we've got a lot of work and we've got a lot of respect. Just 1 second. Thank you.
You must have thought it had all gone when Sean Edwards was sent off.
Yeah, I mean, I was obviously, I thought to myself that once Sean had gone, the pressure would be on, but you know, the players played tremendously well. I'm very, very proud of them. And also I'd like to say thank you to all the coaches out there who wrote us all off, and all the other people who wrote us off, the journalists, everybody. I'm just proud of my guys. I know it's a tough task for us, but we obviously stuck to our task, and they carried out the game plan great. I mean, they probably made about a couple of mistakes, errors, but you know, in a football game you can't complain.
But a try fit to win the match.
Excuse me?
A try fit to win the match, Jonathan Davis.
Oh yeah, tremendously. You know, yeah, everybody played the part. You can't single out one single player. You know, the subs came on and they did their job.
Congratulations, enjoy it.
All right, thanks a lot.
Dennis Betts, what has your new coach Ellery Hanley done for this Great Britain side?
Well, he's just motivated us well, and he's made things really simple. He knows the basics, and he's brought the best players together in England and made us do the basics well.
That's a sensational performance with 12 men.
Well, we've got to remember that this is the war. This is one battle that we've won. We've got to win another one yet to take the Ashes. We can't let it get too carried away with this. It happened to us 4 years ago in this country, and we ended up losing the Ashes. We've got to put this into perspective and realise that to win the war, we've got to win another battle yet.
You proudly flew the Union Jack today. Congratulations, it was magnificent.
It was an excellent performance by 12 men. All credit to everybody that played.
Thank you for joining us.
Well, Jonathan Davis in triumph there, and Ellery Hanley, he's been the silent man for 10 years. I don't think I've ever heard him say as many words. Congratulations for Dennis Betts. He put the graft in, as did this man McDermott when he came on the field. He came of age today, did this young Wigan prop. Carl Harrison, a good stint in the opening hour. And Jonathan Davis, the man of the match. Superb effort, but let's not forget, we've 2 more tests to go.
Jonathan Davis, sensational. A match-winning try.
Well, you know, I didn't think it'd be the match-winning try so early in the game, but like, it wasn't one man of the match. There was 13 or 15 today. There was fantastic defence. At the end of the day, that's what's won the game for us, is his defence.
What do you think was the secret behind this Great British win, really?
Just belief in ourselves, you know. Like, it's 13 against 13. They've like smashed everybody in their path the last couple of weeks, and we thought if we just defend and make it difficult for them and take our chances, well, that'll be it.
You've had some great moments. Is this perhaps the best?
Apart from my injury, it's like euphoric. It's unbelievable. It's a fantastic occasion. To beat the world champions is like, well, unexplainable, really.
I bet that won't hurt now after a victory like that.
A few beers and he won't.
Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Hey, Karen and the kids. Hiya.
Jonathan Davis, he had a wonderful day. So too did Ellery Hanley. Great Britain 8, Australia 4, and here in the Wembley studio, well, Gary Schofield has been on the edge of his seat for the whole of that second half. But try and sum up, Gary, exactly how good that Great Britain performance was.
Well, I think not just a victory, but the way they did it as well, didn't they, with 12 men, and you can see the boys are very excited there. They know they've got still a job in hand, but why not celebrate? You know, for a victory like this against the mighty Australians, it's sensation and just what the game needed.
And Steve Sims is here as well. From the Australian point of view, what consolation can you draw from today?
Well, it's a disappointing effort, to tell you the truth. Once Great Britain had 12 men, you would have expected Australia to, as I said before, spread the ball out wide and test them out, but they were content to bring it back inside and using inside passes and getting it 2 or 3 off the ruck, and then having an inside runner kept running back into the defence all the time. And I think Bobby Fulton will go home tonight and sit down and look at the video and just, you know, wonder where it's all gone wrong, because I don't think the game plan works so good today.
But this man, or that man, Ellery Hanley, he got it right today.
Well, he got it right. I mean, Ellery's always been a great competitor. You know, I mean, all the way to Australia, everybody knows what a great footballer he's been and what he's done for the game over here. And it just shows his enthusiasm as a player has rubbed off to as a coach, and he's given it to his players today. And they were the team that were more enthusiastic, that showed they wanted to win more than the Australians did, and they did. But, you know, as I was saying before, Australia lost the first one in 90. I'm sure they'll come back.
Yes, that's a lesson that we must bear in mind, Gary. What's this done for the series now, 2 tests remaining?
Well, when we beat them in 1990, the Rugby League headquarters, you know, there was queuing there for 3 days to get tickets for the Old Trafford and Ellen Road, and it really does set the series up, doesn't it? But and I say I'm ecstatic about this victory, and you know, well done to the fellas. And I'm sure Ella will be telling the fellas, listen, we'll have a good night tonight, but we'll have a look at the video. I'm sure when the boys meet for training next week, and just see where they can improve. And it's not, you know, I want to give credit to the Great Britain fellas. It wasn't that Australia had an off day. It's the way that Great Britain played. They forced Australia to make mistakes. They're only human, and if you put pressure on, they're going to make mistakes. And with the attacking power Great Britain have got, they are going to score the tries, and it's a tremendous performance.